Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Vechain, taking a look at the recent price action for the VET token and what we think is likely to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications and you will not miss another video update. And if you have not yet joined us in Discord, you guys are missing a trick. Do join us down there. It's completely free, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic place where we communicate first what is going on in this space. So if you don't want to miss a beat, check out the Discord server linked in the description below. Okay, let's jump on down into this. Right here we have Vechain paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is our data source. And you know, we've got some interesting kind of things that are going on here. Okay, we're going to be using Elliott Wave theory, and if you're not familiar, then do go ahead and join us down in that Discord server, as we do have a lot of material down there to help you understand what I'm doing here on these videos in a little bit more detail. I've just released our video course as well, more details down in the Discord server. So do go ahead and check that out if any of this is alien to you. Okay, so straight off the bat here, the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to check to see this distance here between this peak and this low point, moving the Fibonacci retracement tool over to this peak here, and I wanted to see whether or not we had passed this 1.618, which we had. Okay, this is important because it means that we are in a 5-wave trend structure to the downside on this hourly chart. Okay, so if I draw this in, you can kind of see that we have this 5-wave move to the downside. Now, it's possible that we rally up a little bit further before dropping on down, so we want to go ahead and just figure out how high this thing could potentially go before it drops one more time. So if we go ahead and check this out, we would see that the 618 area here, this 0.618 is a potential area. Now, I would actually be better off to draw this the other way around. From the top to the bottom, sorry. So if I draw it from the top to the bottom here, make sure I get that on the right wick, we can see that what we're actually aiming for is the 0.382. Okay, so we can see that there's a potential rally of a typical kind of wave 4 retracement, and it should take us to about 1.888 cents. Okay, so that's going to be your highest possible point there. So what I will do is I'm just going to quickly draw a little line on this area, and I'll make it yellow so that we know what that is. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and remove that. So that there is our kind of higher range. Now, looking at the structure of this move, we could potentially see this rally upwards, but I'm not so sure. I think we may have already completed just about here, okay, with this particular wick. And the reason is that it looks like we've kind of got a micro 5-wave count already. This is just a wave 2. We come down for 3, 4, and then 5, and we'll have this kind of 5th wave movement. I could be a little bit off here, but I do think that we have the potential to see this actually moving down a little bit sooner than later. So let's go ahead and just take a look, right? So what I'm referring to specifically, if I draw this on, is this little move right in here. It's actually really hard to see, but it's right in there like that. Okay, and so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 just dropping down here. This essentially would be a wave 1 of our wave 5. Okay, so although we have that potential to go to 1.888, I don't think that's necessarily something that has to happen. I will draw it on here just so that we're fully aware of where these things could potentially go. I'd pull this over. 1.883 would be a 1-to-1 ratio on an ABC structure within our wave 4. Okay, now if we want to kind of think that this wave 5 started, then we'll stay below this 1.879 area. Okay, stay on below this dash line here, which I'll make red, will basically be an indication that we are in fact in wave 5. If we do go across this line, then we're in wave 4. Okay, it just means that we have to push up a little bit higher before we move down. So we understand these things. It helps us, you know, basically understand the rules, and therefore, you know, if something isn't quite following the rules, then we know that that's not what's occurring. Now, from here, we do have the potential to think of this like so. Okay, and we'll be looking for a 5-wave drop. Obviously, wave 3 would be 1.618 times. So again, we're going to go ahead and move this over. And we'll be talking about wave 3 potentially coming down to 1.835 before we move up a little bit and then drop down into those final 5th wave movements. Now, if I go ahead and remove that, that's just based on these current structures. Typically, a wave 5 movement in itself actually would finish between the 1.236 and the 1.618 fib levels, which are these ones right here. So from the lower side, that would be 1.832 cent all the way through to 1.843 cent. Okay, so if we get an overextension, then chances are we actually come down a little bit lower than this. Okay, and our wave 5 position is actually going to be a little bit deeper. So lots of things to kind of be thinking about. The higher that wave 4 goes, so if we do go up into this dashed line here, then the lower our 5th wave target will be down at the bottom here for Vechain. Okay, so lots of things, lots of rules and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, join us in Discord if you're not familiar with these things, and we can obviously brush your skills up in Elliott wave theory so that you can understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so a couple of different scenarios, lots of things to be thinking about. Essentially, if I were to want to short the market here, I would be looking at this kind of sweet spot that we've been in as a potential entry point. But also, you know, if I didn't mind having a slightly deeper area, I could go in on market, for example, and place my stop loss. So if I were to short the market on market here, my stop loss will be, you know, reasonably high, and my expectations would be down here. I would be looking for a ratio of 1.5 risk reward ratio. So I could have a pretty decent stop loss and still hit that boundary, as you can kind of see here. All right, so I could have a pretty good stop loss here whilst also coming down into my expected kind of area. So trying to keep those things in mind. Obviously, better entries potentially on the horizon here if we do go past 1.879. Otherwise, we could be looking for a reversal around here. Essentially, yeah, we should be coming down one more time, regardless of whether or not we're in the subwave count already. Okay, so we have some targets. I'm just going to leave it like this for now. Potential move slightly higher, but that's not a guarantee. And obviously our targets to the downside at the moment, at the point of recording this video, does put us at about 1.832 to about 1.843 cents on Vechain. Now, if I bring our stochastic RSIs up, you can see that we're nice and high, overbought on the 1 hour chart, not on the 4 or the 8 hour, but we are on the daily. Now, this is important because once we complete 5 waves like this, the next thing that we're going to do is, of course, move to the upside. This means that basically our 4 hour and our 8 hour stochastic RSIs will go from oversold to overbought whilst we have this bounce upwards. Okay, so do watch out for that. And then, of course, we'll move back down again following the pattern as we do. So for the Vechain here, we are in some pretty good areas, you know, covering these global low points. Anything lower than 1.8 cent to me seems like a reasonable deal, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we do not eventually move down on our daily time frame towards 1.5 cent, maybe even lower than a cent at some point in the future. It's really hard to say exactly where it's going under these structures, but for Vechain, I actually have a really broad area where I'm looking at, which is basically anything between 0.00752 all the way through to that higher range of 1.862 cents. So lots of things to be thinking about, lots of dollar cost averaging opportunities for Vechain, which for those who do not know or are unfamiliar with Vechain from a fundamental standpoint, it's well worth checking it out. It is an absolute behemoth when it comes to the crypto industry. It's heavily integrated around the world, lots of real world use case, definitely worth checking it out if you're not familiar. There's a lot of FUD out there, and you do have to do a lot more research, but essentially it is well worth it in my opinion. I'm going to leave this video right there though, guys. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And of course, as I said many times in this video, join us down in Discord, guys. I don't think you would regret it. It is a centralized hub of everything that we do. It's the first place we go to notify you of the ins and the outs of everything crypto. Guys, until the next one, have a fantastic day.